What do you listen to? Alexa, start the song over. Volume 5. What are you doing, a TikTok, dude?
Here comes Grandma.
This is what teenagers do all day long. That's all they do. All day long. That's what teenagers do. Hi, everybody. It's Sunday Fun Day at the Dady household. JC's doing TikToks for the 100th time today.
Are you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
The fryers are under.
I told him 1 o'clock. I'm a man of my word.
What else are you making for lunch?
We're making patty melts. Yummy.
I'll just eat pizza.
Yeah. So I wanted to show everybody Parisa. There's a lot of people being like, "Hey, what's Parisa?" My suggestion would just Google Parisa, 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 and San Antonio Express News. I know that Paul Steven did a big. What's up, Mr. Brunson? How's Colorado, my man? So if you go to the Express News, they did a big story on Parisa. Basically, Parisa, my version would say it's like a beef tartare. You would find it like in Hondo and Floresville, Blanco, Texas, kind of these west of San Antonio, small towns, which were a heavy German settlements, and then obviously with the Mexican heritage that we have and the Hispanic missions of San Antonio, you get this kind of mishmash of German slash kind of Mexican dish. So it's a beef tartare. You would typically find it at places like Zook's and other places. When you're, if you were doing your deer processing, you might be dropping off your deer that you shot, and you pick up some Parisa for the road.
Hi.
They do like a little bit of a ground beef, but more of like a chili style, so like a thicker die cut, probably about like that. And it's typically ground beef. I use like beef tartare, so I use sirloin, or today I had a little bit of New York strip. Mrs. Dady's here. Hi, Mrs. Dady. How are you today? What have you been doing?
My hair.
Your hair? You've been doing your hair today? Okay, so we have this beef tartare dish. I want to say, like, traditionally in my version, like most things I do in life, not very traditional. This is just kind of my vision and my idea of what Parisa is. I think it's a very South Texas thing, a very San Antonio, West San Antonio thing. And I know that the feedback that we've always gotten has been pretty amazing. So, JC, you want a video and I'll do a little bit of this Parisa? Alexa, volume 3. Okay, so Parisa is beef, right? Whether that's ground beef or chili cut beef. You could certainly do other cuts, whether that's lamb if you believe in the freshness of it. I've even seen people do venison, but that's fine. It's basically kind of, I always say very loosely, it's the ceviche of the beef world because it's cured with lime juice. Now, typically when you buy it at these stores in west of San Antonio, in Hondo and Floresville, they pre-marinate theirs in the lime juice, so it really kind of cooks, I mean not cooks, but preserves the meat in the sense that it's cooking it via acid. Some diced cheddar cheese. I pre-diced that because me and JC agreed that you watching me dice cheddar would not be very fun today. Red onion. I have 3 different chilies here. You can mix and match, right? You could only use one. You could use cold. You can do whatever you want. And I have a little bit of fresh cilantro here. And so the peppers are poblano peppers. Personal favorite. I love the flavor of poblanos. We have some raw jalapeno, raw serrano. I have a mixing bowl here. Salt and peppers behind me. I've got some olive oil. But it's pretty straightforward. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll dice all the veg first and just kind of throw that in the mixing bowl. I'm going to take a little bit of this poblano. Watch your foot, monkey. Thank you.
Dad.
Yeah?
1 year ago today I had my first track meet.
1 year ago today was your first track meet. How does that make you feel now that you look back and reflect on it?
It makes me feel very mature.
Hurt?
Mature.
Mature. What, because you remember it or because...
No, just because I've grown so much.
Okay. Like you've grown mentally or physically?
Oh.
I agree. Raw jalapeno here. I'm just going to small dice these guys. This is where most cooking shows would go to a commercial break. We don't have any sponsors yet, so we can't go to a commercial break.
Sponsoring.
This pepper dicing segment is sponsored by Whataburger Mustard, where I believe the best mustard comes from. How'd I do? What'd you guys think?
That was great.
I thought it was good.
Maybe we want to work on it a little bit.
You get a couple more takes.
Yeah, maybe with you.
Dice poblano. You'll notice I'm just kind of cutting them and then putting them in the nice little piles. I do that because it's a lot easier than just doing, if you were to do this and then dice this, which is what a lot of people do, and then you do this and do it again, it just takes too long. You do it kind of like you're building a car. Prepping is about assembly line work. Do it, go down the line, come back, the next person does their job. Right? So the first person's job was to slice all the peppers. Now the next person's job is to dice them. Small bites, right? It's a beef tartare, so I'm kind of more or less trying to get the same size. Cheese, peppers, onion, and beef, so it's kind of a fluid dish. Okay, jalapenos. The amounts are completely up to you, right? What do you like to do? I mean, how much spice do you want? I do like it a little spicy. I keep talking about how I love the flavor of raw jalapeno. Okay, mixing bowl. This goes in. Okay, then we're going to do our onion. Going to do a little diced onion here. I'm using red onion in this particular situation. Why? I just feel like it, a little soft spot there. Going to cut that off. Okay, I'm just going to dice this. Keep them nice and lined up. Turn it. Okay, onion goes in. Now we can add some cheese. I'm basically doing equal amounts of all these. I do a little bit more cheese than I do the, I want like the beef and the cheese to be the same ratio, and then the bell pepper, I mean not the bell pepper, but the poblano pepper, the jalapeno pepper. I've got a little serrano here. I'm just gonna dice one of those just to kind of really spruce up the spice, wake me up on this Sunday afternoon. This gloomy day outside with my glass of wine.
It's nice outside. You guys just don't want to go outside.
Oh, it's beautiful temperature for sure. I'm not going to add the lime yet. I'm going to do the beef first. Okay, so we've got all the veg in the bowl. Got it. This right here is a real thin cut New York strip. It's a little thicker than I want it, right? So, Alexa, play Bad and Bougie by Migos.
Someone just said, love the country in the background. Lil Uzi Vert's in
This
this?
is a pretty bougie Parisa because we're using steak tart, or we're using New York strip. I'm just cutting these in half, kind of butterflying it, and then making stacks.
Someone's confused. Is it going to be raw hamburger?
This is gonna, I use mine as whole steak, so I'm doing more of like a steakhouse version, steak tartare. But yes, it's completely kind of, it's steak tartare done up. What I was saying is traditionally, the markets that you're gonna buy this from in Hondo, Floresville, and those parts of San Antonio, you're not gonna get diced steak, you're gonna get a ground beef texture. So it's a little softer, it's a little bit more pliable onto a cracker, which is great, it's fantastic. I'm doing more of what I would consider a steakhouse version. I couldn't do ground beef in a steakhouse, but I think that every great steakhouse has a great beef tartare, and so this is our version of beef tartare.
I'll go smell to the meat.
Okay, so again, we're slicing those, making them into little stacks, which helps save us a ton of time.
How?
Well, because if you stop and were to do each one individually, it just takes a lot longer. That's what the American industrial revolution was all about. That's it was our ability to build cars by the assembly line. You know that the Ford family invented the assembly line. Now, if I'm rewriting history correctly, but that's my memory, that Ford family invented basically the assembly line, and that's how America was able to build these cars and then therefore win the Cold War. History lessons too. Who knew?
Not me.
History, I think I got 100 on my history test.
Yeah. Well, you should read up. I'm gonna make you read that book this week.
Funny.
No thanks.
Yeah. We're about to throw the gauntlet down on your guys' schoolwork. You just think you're gonna take 4 months off without doing squat? You're out of your mind.
We literally do schoolwork every single day of the week.
Really?
Yes.
Schoolwork every day of the week.
Well, not weekends, obviously.
Yeah. Obs. Oh, I have one more. This one's already pretty thin, so I don't need to cut that one in half. This commercial break of beef slicing is brought to you by Shun Knives. Best for home cooks.
Dork.
Hey Alexa, play Neon Moon by Casey Musgraves. Okay, now we're gonna go back and dice this. Nice small dice. Move that off to the side. Grab your next pile. We've got about 5 piles here. One thing you'll notice that when I'm using my knife here is I'm going at a very kind of precise back to forward motion.
You're also going very slow.
I'm taking my time. It's a knife. It's beef. Beef cuts funny when it's raw. Okay? Forward, backwards, and the reason is that it's because if you put your knife in your hand and you push down as hard as you can, it doesn't do anything because the knife has to go actually forward or backwards. So if I was just to sit here and go down like that, I'm just beating up the meat and bruising it. Whereas if I'm going forwards, backwards to forward, just kind of nice, slow, I'm getting a nice clean cut. Please don't try that trick at home, kids. It has not been approved.
The
by
first
vet-
time I ever saw you do it was on the cruise when
Yeah.
you were like teaching the class, and I went home and did it.
I don't think I'll be doing any cooking classes on cruises for a
Anytime soon.
So sad.
It's so sad.
I
But you know what? It's
The
more
Friars
important
want
to
us to go on
it's
one.
more important to save the restaurant industry than it is the cruise industry. I'm just gonna throw that little political
we haven't been on a
bailout
cruise in
comment
forever.
out there into the
Or I
wide
haven't
open
been
Sunday
to-
afternoon, and you can latch onto it, and you can tell me I'm crazy.
You
It's
and
cool.
Grandma
Doesn't
have.
matter. It's my opinion. Okay, we're almost done with the beef here. Kids are chomping at the bit for this. Chomping at the bit, guys. It's an old saying about horses, the bit. Never mind. I'll get to that later, okay? Mixing bowl. Okay, we're going to put our beef in here.
I feel like that's more cheese. Or more meat than cheese.
You think it's more meat than cheese?
I do.
Let's take a look at it. I have no cheese to add, don't I?
Well, yeah.
Miss Fire says yes to a cruise.
Okay. I feel like it's a pretty even amount here, so we're just tossing these around.
There's definitely more meat.
Yeah.
You want more cheese?
Maybe just a little.
Okay.
Not too much. That's good. Well, that's...
The ratio that you want. Okay, we're gonna add some sea salt. Coarse sea salt, so it's kind of crunchy, doesn't melt all the way. We're gonna add some extra virgin olive oil.
Coco saw something fall and she's sniffing around for it.
That seems like enough. Right there. Pepper grinder. Ba, 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 ba. Hey Alexa, play The Box by Riddy Rock.
Roddy Rich.
Roddy Rich.
Riddy Rock. Alexa, volume 4.
This is Alexa Volume 9. Wow, this
What?
is- Watch.
The Box by Roddy Rich,
I got this.
starting now
Watch it.
on Amazon Music.
I'm gonna stir it.
Wait.
It's not gonna play now. Told you it's not gonna play now.
Alexa, start over.
Alexa, please play The Box by Roddy Rich, Volume 8.
She's really bad at this. This is why I don't
All you
know.
parents want to know how to TikTok, this is how you TikTok.
I don't think
We
it's
missed
like that.
the whole first 30 seconds of the song. Okay, we got olive oil here. We have salt. We have pepper. Now we're gonna come back to the lime. Okay?
That looks even.
And we're gonna do a little bit of lime zest because we want that extra nice little flavor in there. This is just a simple microplane. This section brought to you by Microplane. No,
Nobody thinks it's funny but you.
that's okay. That's what jokes are all about. Making yourself laugh.
No.
Yeah, it is.
Is that why you were born?
Seriously, Tesla.
Just kidding.
Okay, we're gonna add a bunch of lime juice here. I'm gonna use 3 halves. That's 1.5 for you math lesson kids.
You could have just said 1.5.
Okay, we've already got olive oil in there. The only thing that we're missing is a little bit of cilantro. This is more of a,
And my footrest.
doesn't have to have cilantro in there. I like cilantro in there. It's kind of like a meat pico de gallo or something. Okay, stir this in. Now you could let this sit for a couple hours and that lime is gonna kind of oxidize that beef and start that curing process. You could do that for 2 days and it would be absolutely spectacular. Yes, I said you could do it for 2 days and it would be spectacular.
It smells very
My
good.
version is
Let's
more
try
like
it.
raw, ready to rock.
Cheers.
Hold on, grab me a cracker so I can try it. What do you think?
I
Yeah,
actually
man.
have never had
Huh?
this before.
What?
You've never had the Parisa at range?
No.
Oh.
Alexa, start song over.
You need to touch more olive oil.
What meat do they use?
For home cooks, I would suggest using sirloin. Is great. Kind of got a nice texture. I thought it needed a touch more salt.
I do too.
It doesn't need more lime. It doesn't need more pepper. I think that's it, guys. That's Parisa at home. It's got a shelf life of at least 3 full days after you make it. It's going to change color. That's because the lime that you added is oxidizing, but that doesn't mean it's not delicious. And I hope you enjoyed this wonderful afternoon lesson. Join us tonight at 7 o'clock for the Dated in Night 14, right, girls?
Yes.
We're going to make pizzas outside on the grill, I think. Maybe inside. I don't know, but I think we're going to do pizzas. Peace and love. Take care.